What's up, tubers? My name is Caleb. I'm a Valorant YouTuber. If you like this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe, check out my other socials, and enjoy the video. What's up, tubers? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about rotations. If you like this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe, hit that little bell icon down below to keep updated for all my future videos. Let's just jump right into it. Alright, let's get right into business. So what is rotations? A rotation in its purest form is when you're on one side of the map and you have to rotate from that side onto the other side of the map. So in this case, I'm over at A site, right? Over in Ascent. If I need to get over to B site, right over here,
there,
I'm gonna have to rotate from my site all the way over there.
Dragon Ball.
Just like that. So obviously it's not that simple. You will be shot as you walk your way on over. But I will be teaching you how to rotate and when to rotate. So for this, let me set up a scenario for you. I'm Fade. So let me set up a scenario for you. I'm Fade on B site. I got myself a Phantom. And I'm holding this angle over by window. And I start to notice there's no footsteps and no gunfire over in my area. What I do notice is there is gunfire and movement and abilities over at A site. Knowing this fact, I now have to make a decision. Do I hold this position, or do I have to rotate over to go help my team? Now, depending on which character you are, this can vary. If you are someone like a Sentinel, you might not want to rotate so early. You might want to wait for the enemies to actually be inside the other site, then to rotate. But if you are a character like a duelist per se, like a Raze, you might want to rotate early, so you're always in the action and able to help your team, because that's part of your role. Now my best rotation is probably through mid, right? But I have to realize that it may not be as safe as I think it is. So, what I suggest is when you're cutting through an area where enemies might be, is you want to start taking it slowly. So in this case, if there's someone mid, I want to start checking all the angles. And not rush anything. And there you go, I'm over at A site. Now if I know for a fact that the entire enemy team is over at A site, I'm gonna be hauling ass over to A site. I ain't been playing around, I'm gonna be running as fast as I can over there. So say I'm over here on B site, and I notice that there isn't any footsteps, there's no movement, there's no gunfire anywhere on the map. In this scenario, I could rotate. I could rotate over to A site to go investigate further. Then it comes down to choice and whether you think it's a good idea or not. In my personal opinion, and what I find to be best, is to hold your ground. Wait for that movement and wait for that sound, and then play off of that. Now if you're a Sentinel, the whole game changes, right? Because then your whole role as a Sentinel on defense is to be locking down a site and making sure no one can get in. So if you hear noise, you might not want to rotate immediately, you might actually want to stay. The only time I rotate as Sentinel is when they have entered the other site and it's been compromised. And as I said before, if you're a duelist, then you probably want to be floating, you want to be rotating very fast, and you want to be in the action always, because that is your role as a duelist. Let's give you another scenario. Let's say they're actually cutting through mid, and they're actually not going onto site. What you can do is instead of rotating, you can just reposition to a spot where you can catch them off guard as they come. Or you can actually cut them off before they climb through mid by holding this angle. It is technically a rotation, but you're actually not committing to any one site. You're actually floating, which then helps the team cover more ground. Alright, I'll give you another example. Say I'm over here on A site, and the spike has just been planted, and I'm a Sentinel. What I want to do is I want to grab all my stuff, like if I'm a chamber, I want to grab my teleporters, and I want to start rotating over to B site. But knowing that they've planted, I now have to be very cautious with entering the site. So when rotating over to B site, I actually want to take a look at the minimap. I want to see where my teammates are actually covering, so that I know I can take that ground without being shot. So in this scenario, let's say I have somebody over in market.
There.
That means I am safe to be walking past here and not have to hold any angles. But I do have to be watching
There.
over here. Because like I said, no one's been covering this and no one's actually watching this angle but me. So I'm going to start approaching the site. I'm going to start clearing angles to cover more ground. And then eventually, once I've cleared everything, killed everybody, I defuse the bomb. Now this sounds all fun and dandy, right? But it's not always sunshine and rainbows when it comes to actual gameplay. Sometimes you might have to rotate late, sometimes you might have to rotate early. It really depends if you see a pattern consistently with the enemy team. If you see that pattern, you need to start taking advantage of that and start cutting them off. It's very easy to get into a mindset where you do the same thing and the same thing and the same thing, and you keep getting punished for it. In my opinion, Valorant's all about adapting and overcoming. Alright, so let me give you one more scenario. So again, let's say I'm over at B site, and they're over at A site, and they've started to engage the site. I could rotate through mid, but I could also rotate through their spawn. This gives me the jump on the opponent, because they don't expect me to be back here. In most cases, they won't actually be checking back here. They'll actually be leaving it exposed, so you actually get the jump on them. If they have someone like a sentinel, they might actually tripwire, or they might set down a trap for you to hit on the flank. But if this is something you haven't done during the rounds, this might actually catch them off guard, and then give you the opportunity for multiple kills. And yeah, that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I'll be sure to answer them. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.
I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant.